The first principle of making money is to not do any work. Now, before you get angry and say, that's ridiculous, just give me a minute. Think about the richest people you know, not the people who look rich on social media. I'm talking about the people who actually built wealth. What are they doing every day? Are they lifting boxes in a warehouse? Are they working 16-hour shifts? Are they sitting at a desk from morning till midnight? Usually no. They're having conversations, they're making phone calls, they're meeting people, they're analyzing opportunities, they're making decisions. From the outside, it looks like they're not doing much. And that's exactly what confuses most people. Because you look at someone sitting in a coffee shop having a conversation for 2 hours and you think he's not working. But that 2-hour conversation might create a business deal worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, someone else can work 12 hours a day every single day and still struggle to get ahead. Why? Because the wealthy person isn't just working harder. They're playing a completely different game. They are not focused on doing more tasks. They're focused on creating more leverage. And that difference is the invisible wall between people who stay trapped in the cycle of working for money and people who learn how to make money work for them. Let me explain a concept that will completely change the way you look at income. It's called the income ceiling. Every person has one. The question is whether you realize it exists. Because if your income depends entirely on your own time, your income will always have a limit. You only have 24 hours every day. That's it. You cannot create more time. You cannot work 50 hours a day. You cannot multiply yourself. So if you are paid based on your hours, there's always a maximum amount you can earn. Imagine your time is worth $50 an hour. Even if you somehow worked 24 hours a day, your maximum would only be $1,200. And obviously nobody can live like that. You need sleep, you need food, you need a life. So your real ceiling is actually much lower. But now look at someone who understands business, someone who knows how to create deals, someone who knows how to connect people, solve problems, and build systems. Their income is not limited by the number of hours they personally work. One conversation can create an opportunity. One decision can create a company. One deal can generate more money than years of labor. That's why two people can spend the same amount of time working and get completely different results. One person is selling hours. The other person is creating value. And the market does not reward effort. The market rewards value. This is where many people misunderstand money. They think money comes from working hard, but that's only part of the story. Working hard can make you reliable. It can make you skilled. It can help you survive. But working hard alone does not automatically create wealth because the world does not pay you for how tired you are. Nobody pays you because you woke up at 5 a.m. Nobody pays you because you stayed late at work. Nobody pays you because you sacrificed more than everyone else. The market only asks one question: what problem can you solve? The bigger the problem you solve, the more valuable you become. That's the real rule. And I'm not saying hard work doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. You know, every successful person has worked hard, but there is a difference between working hard inside someone else's game and working hard to build your own game. Most people spend their entire lives becoming better employees. They learn how to follow instructions faster. They learn how to complete tasks better. They learn how to become more efficient at someone else's business. But very few people stop and ask, why am I helping build someone else's dream while ignoring my own? That question changes everything. Because the biggest difference between employees and entrepreneurs is not intelligence. It's not education. It's not even money. It's perspective. One person sees a problem and says, someone should fix this. Another person sees the same problem and says, how can I create a solution to get paid for it? That tiny difference in thinking creates completely different futures. There's an old idea that says people who work with their minds create direction. People who only work with their hands follow someone else's direction. And even though that idea is thousands of years old, it still applies today. Because the world has always rewarded people who can organize resources, make decisions, and create systems. Think about every major company you know. The founder didn't personally do every single task. They didn't build every product. They didn't answer every customer. They didn't complete every operation. Instead, they created a machine that allowed other people, technology, and resources to work together. That's the power of leverage. And leverage is the secret behind wealth. Money is not created by simply doing more work. Money is created by creating more value. Let me give you a simple example. Think about a coffee bean. The farmer who grows the coffee might only make a few cents from that bean. The person who processes and roasts it makes a little more. The distributor who moves it around makes more. But then someone takes that same coffee bean, turns it into a beautiful latte, puts it in a comfortable cafe with music, air conditioning, good lighting, and a relaxing atmosphere. And suddenly that same coffee can sell for $7. What changed? The bean didn't change. The value around the bean changed. The customer is not just buying coffee. They are buying convenience. They are buying comfort. They are buying an experience. They are buying a moment where they can sit down, relax, and enjoy themselves. The coffee itself may only be worth a few cents, but the feeling can be worth $7. That is the difference between labor and value creation. The person picking the coffee beans is doing important work, but the person who understands how to package, position, and deliver that value is playing a different game. Remember this, labor is a cost. Delivery is where profit is created. You can spend an entire day digging for gold. The physical work is exhausting, but raw gold has limited value until someone transforms it. When a skilled designer turns that gold into a wedding ring, creates a beautiful story around it, and sells it to someone who wants to create a lifetime memory, the value increases dramatically. The gold didn't become more expensive because someone worked harder. It became more valuable because someone understood the customer. The same thing happens everywhere. A person can write 10,000 lines of code, but the code itself is not the real value. The value comes when that code becomes software that saves companies time, reduces costs, or solves problems. A person can make a product, but the real money often comes from knowing who needs it, how to position it, and how to deliver it. The space between raw materials and the final customer experience is where the money is hidden. This is why some people work extremely hard and still struggle, while others seem to move effortlessly and create massive results. They are not necessarily working less. They are working on higher value activities. They spend less time doing tasks and more time making decisions that affect the entire system. Now, at this point, many people will say, I understand the idea, but I'm just a normal person. I don't have money. I don't have connections. I don't have resources. What can I possibly do? Here's the answer. Stop saying I'm just a normal person. Almost every successful business started with someone who had very little. They started with an idea. They started with observation. They started by finding a problem and creating a solution. You don't always need money to start. Sometimes you need information. Sometimes you need awareness. Sometimes you need the ability to connect people. Think about a simple example. You don't need to own a fish farm to make money from fish. You just need to know who has the fish and who wants to buy the fish. If you can connect those two sides, you create value. That is the foundation of business. Every marketplace in the world works this way. Someone has something, someone wants something. The person who connects them often creates value in the middle. That's why salespeople, brokers, agents, and entrepreneurs can make money without producing the product themselves. They understand movement, they understand relationships, they understand opportunities. Many people have been taught one sentence their entire lives: work hard and you'll become successful. And yes, hard work matters. But hard work without direction can keep you busy forever while never moving you forward. A person can spend 30 years climbing a ladder only to discover that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. The goal is not to avoid work. The goal is to make sure your work is taking you somewhere. The difference between struggling and building wealth is not always how much effort you put in. It is where you put that effort. Are you building skills that create opportunities? Are you learning how money moves? Are you understanding people's problems? Are you creating something that can grow without depending only on your personal time? Because true wealth comes from ownership. It comes from creating something that continues to produce value even when you are not personally doing every single task. Stop being proud of how exhausted you are. Being tired is not the same as being successful. Exhaustion is not an asset. It is simply the price you paid. The better question is not, how can I work harder? The better question is, how can I create more value with less wasted effort? That is not laziness. That is intelligence. Smart people are not looking for ways to avoid effort. They are looking for ways to make their effort count. They're looking for leverage. They're looking for systems. They're looking for opportunities. I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow and take a reckless risk. That is not the point. Your job might be the thing that gives you stability while you build something bigger. The point is to change the way you think. Start seeing opportunities instead of only seeing tasks. Start asking why things work instead of simply following instructions. Start looking for problems that people are willing to pay to solve. Because the biggest financial transformation often begins with a mental transformation. The moment you stop asking, how can I work more hours, and start asking, how can I create more value, your entire perspective changes. Your goal should not only be finding a better job, your goal should be building something that belongs to you. Something that uses your skills, your ideas, your judgment, and your ability to create value. Because in the end, money doesn't follow the person who works the hardest. Money follows the person who understands value, solves problems, and creates something people truly need. The direction matters more than the speed. You don't have to change your life overnight. You just have to start moving in the right direction. And once your direction is right, even moving slowly can take you somewhere most people never reach.